everyone. I'm back, and back from downtown Denver today, where I'm usually broadcasting from. As is always the case, there is construction going on. They're replacing the 100-year-old water main outside my window, so it definitely may get a little bit noisy. We'll hope for the best. I am, as always, going to take just a moment to share this on my personal page as well before we get started. And I did want to mention to those of you who are watching this after the fact, when it's recorded, I will put a note in the video comments about when the actual topic starts. So I'm just posting it to my page real quick. So that if you are watching it and you want to skip the usual intro that I do, you'll know where to jump to. And just a quick note on that intro, I typically say a very similar intro each time. I may briefly recap what I talked about previously, and the reason I do that is so that anyone who's joining me live has a few minutes to get on, catch up, listen to maybe what I'm about to say, and really gets to be there in time for the main topic. So it's a little bit of an intentional lead-in to allow for the live folks to get connected and sort of get involved before the meat of the topic starts. So feel free, if you're watching this recorded, to jump ahead to whatever number I end up putting down in the comments, whatever time I put in the comments. I'd like to extend a special thank you today to Erin Sell of Socially Powered, and as well as for taking over for the last couple weeks for me, as well as Teresa Adams, who she interviewed last week. So big thank you to Erin and Teresa for keeping this time slot active for me for the last couple weeks. And I did watch those, and I really enjoyed both of those topics. And if those of you viewing haven't, I would suggest checking out Erin and then Erin and Teresa's Facebook Live recordings from the last 2 weeks. As promised, at the end of this broadcast today, I will announce who the 2 winners are of the custom autographed copy of Jenny's Hearts book. I'm really excited about this, and I'll put more information about the book if you're interested in ordering it for yourself in the comments as well. So if you're not familiar with who I am a public speaker and a geek coach, and I have worked in the corporate behavior change and technology industry for over 20 years and learned a lot about both the psychology and patterns of behavior change and how to implement some very practical, small, intelligent, actionable steps in your own life and possibly those of your friends and family, and am eager to share that information in hopes that it can make other people's lives better as well. So that's me, and thank you for joining me today. And my topic before I left for a couple of weeks had to do with transactional analysis, theory of behavior, ego states, parent, child, adult. I'm going to put that on hold until after Thanksgiving, because I do feel there's a nice continuity to that topic that I'd like to pick up on. But I wanted to do a couple special broadcasts because we're going into the holidays, and as we all know, the holidays are just stress-free and wonderful, and there's never any any tension, and we're all just spending the time relaxing and doing the things that we love. Right? So yeah, I'm gonna do a couple of holiday editions. And hello, Erin. Thank you for joining today. It's great to see you. So I'll put the heavy psychology topics on hold for a few weeks and talk about today, surviving Thanksgiving, but this can apply to any of the holidays and any sort of situation that may not be as relaxing and stress-free as you might want it to be. So I'm going to give you some tips that involve brain science, so cool, to sort of trick our own brains into making things more fun and enjoyable and meaningful, and hopefully thereby giving you a more enjoyable holiday season experience. All right, so what I'm going to do today is tell you a little bit about the way our brains function, talk at a high level about 3 fascinating studies that were done that show how sort of the brain-body connection between how our thinking can really change our bodies, our demeanors, our outlook on life, without really having to do much to change the actual situation that you're in. So this power of how we focus on things is so important, because our brains have limited resources. We have limited capacity up here. So whatever we're focused on means we're excluding other possibilities. And that's a good thing, as Martha Stewart likes to say. That's a good thing. So our mindset can be trained. And the more we focus on these positive thoughts or these actionable pieces of thinking that I'm about to share with you, the less capacity that leaves for negative, woe is me, this sucks, I don't want to be here, the less that leaves for those types of intrusive thoughts or negative thoughts. So our perception of our surroundings and what we choose to focus on and how we choose to frame situations makes all the difference in your life and how you're perceived and how people treat you. And that happens even at a subconscious level. I'm not going to go into that piece quite as much today, but perhaps next time or in the next few episodes, I'll talk about some studies that have been done that just by the way you perceive yourself deeply affects the way people treat you. And that's not even necessarily on a surface level. So, for another time. So the 3 studies I want to talk about. One involves a week-long retreat experiment with 75-year-old men. The next involves poison ivy. And the third has to do with a cleaning staff at 7 different hotels. Cleaning staffs at 7 different hotels. And all 3 of these will illustrate some unique attributes between how our thinking and our bodies are tied together. So first, the 75-year-old men. There was a retreat where these men were taken, and I don't remember the exact number, but it was a significant, I'm going to say about 20, 30 men. I put the study in the comments. If any of you really enjoy spending your free time reading scientific psychology studies, I will be happy to provide these resources. But the high level of this is that these 75-year-old men were taken away for a week in an isolated retreat setting. And all of the entertainment and social interactions and styles and even their pictures on their badges reflected the world as it was 20 years previously, so when they were 55. So all of this framing of their lives for that 1 week at the retreat was turning back the clock essentially to them being 55. Before they went on this retreat, they took a whole battery of relevant measurements of these men. Things like physical strength, flexibility, posture, perception, just being able, as you get older, certain pieces and parts start to not work as well, cognition, short-term memory, and so on. So then the men went on this retreat and they lived for a week with no contact to the outside world and dressed and acted and talked about events that were current when they were 55 and didn't do anything outside of their normal routine though. So they weren't being subjected to a special diet or more exercise than usual. So there really was no physical behavioral changes in their day-to-day lifestyle routine. The only thing that changed was the surroundings reflected who they were 20 years ago. So this is 1 week. Keep in mind, this was not 3 months. This is literally 1 week's worth of sleepaway camp in that time frame. And at the end of the week, they retook these measurements, and they found that every aspect had improved. And some had improved significantly, and even things that they thought were not malleable at that time and at that age, and 75 years old, physical strength even, they didn't do any strength training, had improved. Some as much, eyesight had improved 10% on over half the population. And then they took pictures of the men before and after and showed these pictures to strangers and asked them to rate how old they thought that these people were. And on average, the after photos were 3 to 5 years younger than how they were rated, their average age was rated prior to that week. So again, 1 week, and this was not a health spa, this was not anything other than them just kind of reframing the era that they were living in and kind of recapturing some of those memories of their youth and attitudes of their youth. Really powerful results for nothing other than changing your surroundings for 1 week. The next one, I just think this experiment was so funny because someone got permission to rub poison ivy on 13 subjects who were known to be allergic to it. So I don't know where you have to write to get permission to do that kind of study, but good job. So this study was, they took 13 subjects, blindfolded them, and then took some leafy herb and rubbed it on one of their arms. And they told them as they were rubbing it, this is poison ivy. We are just getting that all over your skin, and you're gonna hate us for this. Well, that wasn't poison ivy. It was a harmless shrub that they had previously been tested for and were not reactive to. But their brains told them it was poison ivy. Every single one of the 13 participants broke out in poison ivy symptoms. Itchy, rash, boils, blisters, all those nasty things that happen if you're allergic to poison ivy. Every single one. Just because their brains believed this was poison ivy. So talk about a powerful physiological, psychosomatic, brain-body connection. I don't recommend trying this on your friends or family, but if you do, let me know how that goes. And then to continue the experiment, still blindfolded, they rubbed actual poison ivy on the other arm, but told them this is nothing, this is just some leaves from a tree or whatever. They convinced them it was not poison ivy. Only 2 of the participants of 13 reacted to the actual poison ivy. That is just some crazy brain-body evidence going on there. I kind of want to try this myself, but I don't know, we'll see. Not today. So the power of what we believe is so compelling to our body. And there is a lot of evidence of why that is the case. But again, I could be rambling all day about this kind of stuff. So I'll cover some of those topics perhaps in other weeks. But it really is fascinating, and there's lots of evolutionary and biological reasons why that is the case. One very quickly high level has to do with our brains want to get ready to protect us and want to be primed and be as fast acting as possible to do what they think needs to happen to affect and protect our bodies. So on this next study, the cleaning staff one, so 7 different hotels, they took a large portion of the cleaning staff in these hotels and told them, half of this study group, they told half of them, while you're doing your regular job functions, so vacuuming, dusting, making beds, all that stuff, half of those people were informed that it burns so many calories and vacuuming is equivalent to cardio exercise, and they were told very positive outcome type information about their activities they were already doing for their job. So And this was reinforced throughout these few weeks. And so half of this group was like, great, I had no idea that what I was already doing is so beneficial to me. Several weeks later, they took measurements they did these pre and post experiment measurements again. And the group of people who had been primed with the information around the benefits of the work they were already doing had lost weight, and their cholesterol had dropped. They had done nothing differently. Nothing. Same job, same exact environments as the second half of the population. The only difference in these two groups was that they had been told that what they were doing is beneficial. So I want you guys to all call me up and tell me that, when I'm going out having beers with friends, that I'm actually going to be losing weight and that's super healthy for me. And let's see, what else do I like to do? Yeah, so all kidding aside though, tell each other, if you have a workout buddy, if you have something you're trying to achieve, having this positive outlook about what you're doing and this positive information about the efficacy and about the outcomes you can expect will actually influence your body to react more appropriately. All right, so what does this have to do with Thanksgiving? Well, some of us can occasionally struggle with situations we need to be in for social and familial obligations. It can also just be you have to go out and do the grocery shopping and the store is going to be mobbed. So there typically are situations involved in holidays, in life in general, that can seem like time and energy sucks. But what if you could reframe those in ways that were powerful enough that kept you from feeling exhausted by them? And even better, maybe even enjoy them in new ways. So let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that one of the things that you need to do is go to a big family meal. And it's typically people you only see once or twice a year, and it's going to be the same old questions, and we all know the topics that are going to come up that we don't agree on, and are we going to really talk about politics again? Oh my God, and if, Uncle so-and-so has one more drink, and then he's going to go off on cousin, blah, blah, blah. There's just this wonderful family dynamic. Maybe that's not your favorite place to be, but it is the holidays, and that's just part of what you do. However, if you can set an objective for yourself going into this, it could be something as simple as, I'm going to learn 3 new things today at the family meal. I'm going to learn somebody's recipe, or I'm going to get someone's favorite childhood story from them. I'm going to find out about so-and-so's favorite new book or author. So you can, and in fact, I would love to hear if you're thinking on this and you're coming up with your ideas of goals and objectives for social obligation situations. Please share them, because I think this could be really fun. But so if you can set some unique objectives for yourself about what you're going to accomplish in this, and this is something you can also use if you're in a boring meeting and you're watching someone go through PowerPoint slides. You can say, well, I'm going to learn today what colors not to use for PowerPoint backgrounds. So that's just sort of a mindset that you can put in place ahead of time to make it more entertaining for yourself and to give yourself that little dopamine reward in your brain when you accomplish those things. Like, oh, God, that recipe sounds terrible. I am never going to put carrots in green Jell-O because that's disgusting. But I did learn one new recipe today, and I got the story behind why that's been in our family for 20 years, and it is gross. I mean, I used to pick the marshmallows out, and sometimes those were good, but no more carrots in Jell-O for me. So that then gives you a little almost like a scavenger hunt. All right, I got that thing down. So that's one way to make things more fun for yourself. Even at the grocery store, if you had to go through this shopping and you're stuck in line and people are cranky and carts are crashing into each other, I don't know, can you find somebody who has a funny accent? Maybe funny's not the right word, but has some sort of an accent, and ask them, find out where they're from. Set little goals for yourself that you can focus on. And that comes back to your brain's limited capacity. If you can give your brain this food for thought, if you will, that will prevent it, without you even having to really think on it, prevent it from focusing on some of the less desirable aspects of the situation. The second way that you can accomplish something similar to this is looking at the bigger context of why you're there. We all have menial tasks to do, whether that be vacuuming, if you don't like that, doing the dishes, going grocery shopping, they're just in life in general, getting the oil changed. Whatever those tasks are that maybe don't bring you inherently energy and joy. But again, to trick your brain into being a little bit more excited about them, if you can remind yourself about the bigger context of why you're doing what you're doing, then that's a chance to retain the focus on those, but change the attitude towards them. So going back to Thanksgiving, if you can think of it, not just that you have to sit around and stuff yourself and listen to people talk about things that maybe aren't your favorite topics, if you can say, you know, this might be Aunt Susie's only chance to really get out of that situation she's in and connect with people in a different way. That's really important. That's something she doesn't get to do in the community that she's usually in. There may be people who are less fortunate in your family, social, holiday group. And this may be one of the only chances they get to really sit down at a table and have an amazing, delicious, healthful meal. Can it be a chance to compliment somebody in a way that they don't get on a day-to-day basis? So yes, there are aspects of holidays and life that may be tedious and unpleasant. But if you can keep asking yourself the question of why am I doing this? Why am I vacuuming the rug? Well, because I want people to come over my house and feel relaxed. And if my house is all dirty and gross, then maybe they're not going to feel comfortable eating here. So I want, or they're going to be distracted by that fact. So I want them to be relaxed and enjoy their time with me. And suddenly, if that's why I'm vacuuming my rug, not because it's dirty, but because I'm creating a meaningful, wonderful experience for my friends, I suddenly don't mind doing that as much. So that's the sort of thing when I say if you can tie it back into the bigger picture, then that tricks your brain into giving itself a little pat on the back and saying, yeah, I'm making a difference. So the meaning of why you're doing things, not just simply doing them, but reminding yourself of the meaning behind it and the why behind it, is the other trick, if you will, to keep yourself more positive and more energized throughout holidays or other less desirable situations you may find yourself in. I hope this helps. I would love to hear your ideas, your thoughts, your tricks, ways that you get your own brain to kind of be reprogrammed. And that is something, the more you do these types of exercises, the more likely your brain is to rewire itself. And then it becomes easier and easier over time to get into these more positive mindsets. That's it for today on that topic. However, the winners of the personally autographed copies of Jenny's book are, one is actually an organization, Peace Seller, and I understand that Erin did some sort of I'm going to call it sort of a get-together, social networking, social media event there. So she had great things to say about Peace Seller, and thank you, Peace Seller, for sharing that video. Hi, Julie. Thank you for joining, and I appreciate your comment, and would love to hear how your holidays go. So congratulations to Peace Seller. I'll be reaching out to you, and we'll be getting you your copy. And the other person who so kindly shared a video for us was Megan Sauer. Megan. So I don't know you personally, Megan, but thank you again for spreading the word and spreading the message, and I will reach out to you through Facebook to make sure I know how to get you your copy. So again, thank you to both Peace Seller and Megan for sharing our videos. We hope, and I'm saying we this week because between Nsoma and Aaron and everybody who helps out with these, I really appreciate the entire crew who's involved in making this happen and keeping it continuously going even when I'm not available. If you're interested in talking more with me, either about geek coaching, public speaking, or anything that's on your mind, I try to keep a limited number of openings available to connect with people, so I will include that scheduling link in the comments, as I usually do. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I will try to pop in and share a moment from my Thanksgiving feast if I have Wi-Fi where I'm going to be. If I can get a good enough connection, I'll pop on quickly and say hello. It won't be a usual broadcast, but you know, maybe you'll get to see me drink wine and eat my vegetables. And please, everyone, try to make someone else's day just a little bit better, even if that's just giving the stranger a smile, or at least make your own a little better. You've already made mine so much better just by sharing this time with me and watching today. Bye-bye, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving.